again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can get caught up on some of the latest news that is tied to our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. And then we share some opinions and some takes about said news along the way. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes, and to everyone who gets their comments into the viewer comment section. And as you can see, the fit is different for a day. We have crossed the 8,000 subscriber mark, and I can't thank you enough for all of the support. Everyone who has subscribed to this little channel of ours, our little show, as we like to say, here on YouTube. And then it's everywhere, folks. It's Spotify. You can find it lots of different places. Apple, I think, is all over. Thank you to the folks at Fan Arch, but thank you to you. I'm wearing this sweatshirt. Now, my mom's birthday was the other day. Her heavenly birthday was the other day, and Mom got me this sweatshirt years and years ago. And it still holds up. It's a starter sweatshirt that I don't wear very often, but I do wear. And when I do, I always think of my mom. My mom got me this years and years ago, so I felt in order to honor her memory, we would wear this sweatshirt today, as we have now crossed 8,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Fit for a day changed. So thanks to you. But what's coming up on today's show? Well, you know how it goes. Wait 5 minutes, and the storyline changes with the Browns. Never a dull moment, especially with our quarterback. Shedeur Sanders misses the first joint practice with the Eagles. But I'm here to tell you that even if he doesn't play at all on Saturday afternoon, it's not such a bad thing. Also, 2 of the Browns' 4 quarterbacks made a prestigious preseason list. The ratings are out from Friday night's preseason game with Carolina, and although I didn't get my wish, it wasn't the most watched preseason game ever, it's still a massive win for advertisers, and I'll explain. And then down in the viewer comments, the one intangible I thought Shedeur Sanders brought to the game on Friday night that I hope all of our other quarterbacks can do as well. But first things first, let's set the stage for today. Today, another joint practice with the Eagles, and it's another morning session, so they're at it already. And then tomorrow, going to be a walkthrough like last week. There'll be no media availability. We'll hear though from we'll hear from Stefanski, and they let Flacco talk yesterday, and and then Saturday, of course, is the game at 1:00. But the big news that broke was Shedeur Sanders. Everybody's watching the reps, the 7-on-7s, the 11-on-11s, and it's Flacco, it's Gabriel, no Pickett, only 7-on-7. He's still got the hamstring thing. Tyler Huntley is out there. Shedeur getting no reps. Everybody wondered what's going on, and then we found out later that it's an oblique, and so it's an injured oblique. Gotta hope it's mild. If it's mild, those can heal relatively quickly. Anything more than that, this could turn into days, maybe weeks. But we'll have to see. I mean, they've been mum on the hamstring injury, so I don't expect us to hear much about the oblique. The one good thing is the defense had a good day yesterday. Miles apparently is living in the backfield, even against our number 1 offensive line. Miles Harden was filling in for Greg Newsome, and he had a nice day too. So that's good to hear and see, and everything that he was doing out there. Gonna need that. We need to find that extra defensive back or 2. Nick Needham had a good game in the preseason game, So gotta find a nickel if Greg Newsome and or Miles Harden's gonna play out there. So that was all nice to hear. But yeah, Shedeur not taking any reps, just kind of took over anything else that was happening out there. But it's still good work. It was good work for them. Sloppy a little bit. There were some drop passes and things. I'm sure they're playing a little bit faster. That's what happens. That's why you do these joint practices, because these joint practices, that's a game field. for these guys now. The preseason games just are not. I mean, it's good for rookies, and it's good for there are a lot of good things about the preseason games. But these joint practices, the intensity's ramped up. There's one-on-ones. It's that's where this is the true test each year. All of these teams, they do these joint practices, and you get a lot out of them, and that's why they do them. And so the tracker. You can see Flacco there, 6 for 13. Nothing for Shedeur. Pickett's 7 on 7s. He went 5 for 6. And then Gabriel. This is a mix. I think there's 6 for 19. So he's getting everything that Shedeur was getting until the oblique. And Huntley 3 for 4. So I imagine we are going down the same path that we saw last week. Because here's the thing. Even before practice, we had this quote from Zach Jackson, who said, if Gabriel could participate in the practices in Philly, which he already has, and he's already, as long as there's no setbacks, feels like Stefanski would make him the starter for Saturday. This was even before Shedeur got hurt. Stefanski usually used the joint practices to focus on the team's regulars, and then played mostly rookies and backups in the second preseason game. That's his history. And so I can say we still don't know who will start, but I think it's going to be Dillon Gabriel. Now, here's the thing. This is why this is not such a bad thing. I mean, as excited as everybody was after Friday, including me, everybody wanted to see round 2 with Shedeur against the Eagles. I wanted to see Shedeur in the joint practices against the Eagles, going against the ones or their twos. That's what I wanted to see, how he held up there. You saw Dillon Gabriel. Those numbers aren't stellar. 6 for 19. Not a stellar performance. But fully expect him to start on Saturday afternoon. Now, why is that not such bad? I think we're going down the same road as we had last week. I think this week it's going to be Dillon Gabriel and then Huntley taking over late in that game, as long as Gabriel doesn't have any setbacks. And that's not such a bad thing, is because now we get to sit back and compare. You can put your feet up on the old ottoman, put your hands behind your head like this, and say, okay, let's see what we got here with the other rookie. Because Shedeur set the bar, and I thought he handled it well. The thing that's most disappointing is that Shedeur just doesn't get those reps in the joint practices. That's like, it's such a big deal. Every one of those reps is just so important. This was the most crucial week of camp, and to miss these reps, it's not going to be good. So I really think that right now we are really. If Joe Flacco is not named the starter by the end of the week, then I don't know what it's going to take, because Pickett still can't get on the field. So, and Flacco, Flacco's Flacco. Remember, he was always the safety net. And so, at least at this moment, that looks like the way we're going. And then, boy, oh boy, hopefully Shedeur is a quick healer and can get back out there. The NFL game's a different game, I guess. It puts a ton of pressure on that body of yours. So hopefully it's a quick fix. And if he only misses this week and then he's back at it, he can resume his battle with Dillon Gabriel. Now, that's the rookies. Talking about Flacco and Pickett. They made what some people say is a prestigious list that comes out every year right before the start of the season. It's the Athletics poll and the quarterback tiers that they create. And why is this so prestigious? It's because this is a poll of NFL coaches and executives and GMs. Are also in there, and they also included coordinators in this poll as well, and they asked them to place all of the 34 veteran quarterbacks into 5 tiers from 1 to 5. And Flacco and Pickett, they made the list. Flacco, first time on the list in 3 years, so he made the list. But here's the problem: he's tier 4. So, which they, it's a less than triumphant return to the list, but this includes unproven players or a veteran who should not be starting a full season. So, which we already know that, folks. They're not telling us anything we don't already know. So, but the other thing is this. Flacco has a higher completion rate, yards per attempt, and passer rating over the past 2 seasons than he had in his career previously. And so it's like he's like fine wine. He's kind of gotten better with age. And I know the interceptions. I know, and we went over that yesterday. It's a thing. No, there's no reason to say he couldn't get that under control this year. So if he does, and if he looks like he looked in that practice I was at, we're going to be okay for a while. And so, but it's just a matter of how long it will last. And so you say, well, Dave, if Flacco is tier 4, then where's Pickett? 1, 2, 3, where's Pickett? All alone in tier 5. And tier 5 is a quarterback who's best suited as a backup, which I think we've already known. We like they're not telling us anything that we didn't know. And honestly, we know even less about Pickett at this point because of the hamstring injury, because he can't get on the field. So, I like this poll because it's people in the game. That's what I like. I mean, tier 1 has Mahomes and Burrow. You get all that. But it's these lower rankings, and I always like to see where the Browns are at and the opinion of people in the league, and what they think. So I'll go with that's pretty accurate at this point. But I think Flacco could surprise a lot of people coming out of the gate. I don't know how closely they're paying attention to what he's been doing in camp and how motivated he is. And so we'll see. But, like I said, that defense, look what it did against Philly, so far in the joint practices. Like, if that defense shows up every week, Flacco will keep us in some games. And I think we'll be okay. And then now we got to sort out, the backup quarterback. The injuries have just, 4 quarterbacks. And now we're down to 1.5. Huntley's a half still. He's never going to be, he's not making this team. I still fully expect all 4 to be on the roster when we break camp. Now, the other thing that came out was the ratings for the preseason game against Carolina. And what they say is that the game got 2.2 million viewers, and which is not. I mean, remember we said the record was that Dallas-Pittsburgh game, 7.3 million. But remember, that's on a national network. If this game was on a national network, I would put my money on it that it would have been. This was on NFL Network. This wasn't on Fox or ABC or CBS or anything like that. So it's not a fair comparison. But here's what I'll say: it's still a massive win if you're an advertiser, because the ratings topped all key demos. That game blew out everything else that was on the air, and it owned 18-49, which is the most critical one, because advertisers say that that's the people with the most disposable income and the least brand loyalty. They're just spending money like drunken sailors, and it makes them more susceptible to advertising. And then they also owned adults 25 to 54. So your key demographic areas, everybody had their eyes on our game on Friday night on the NFL Network. So still a big win. Didn't get our 7.3, but if that was like a Hall of Fame game, can you imagine? Holy moly. I think we blow that 7.3 out of the water. So, because, I mean, even that Lions-Chargers game got like 6.8 on Fox or NBC. It was an NBC game. So anyway, but still a great showing. A lot of eyes on the Brownies and Shedeur's first start. Now, we talked about those tiers. Viewer comments, always tier 1. And we'll start today with Eric Hill, 78-29. Browns running game still looks like a very weak link. Well, here's one of the things. This is what I teased at the beginning about the intangible. One of the things that I thought happened on Friday night, Shedeur. Remember, he's still playing out there with the, we saw some of the regulars. Deontay Johnson was out there for a short time in the beginning. Dylan Sampson was out there for a short time in the beginning. But for the most part, these are all 2s and 3s. And he raised the level of play, I think, for everybody. He used to always say it about Michael Jordan, and guys like Kobe and guys like they make everybody else better. And I felt like we got that from Shedeur the other night. And that's why I was excited to see what's going to happen this week. But talk about any of the franchise coach. Look at Mahomes. Like, look at the running backs that they run in and out of there every year. Like, they turn Kareem Hunt into a star. Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guys that, I don't know. Do they do the same thing that they did with the Chiefs that they would do? Even their receivers. Like, you see a lot of these, all the big time QB1s, franchise quarterbacks, always seem to raise the level of play. Look at New England with Brady all those years and all the different running backs that they would run through, and their wide receivers outside of Welker. Can you name or Edelman? Can you, they had Moss, for a short time, but like, it really didn't matter, because when you have if you don't have the quarterback, you have nothing. And I think what we saw on Friday was how the play of the quarterback can elevate the rest of the team. And so that's why if we get great QB1 play, I don't know. I don't think that the running game will benefit. Everything's gonna play off of each other, and so. But no, it's something to monitor for sure. Eric Hill, appreciate the take. Gina Lemonade 64. I think if Gage Larvidan does something the same or better in the last 2 preseason games as he did in Carolina, he'll make the 53-man cut. It said a lot that they made him available to the media, and it was a good interview. Yeah, no, it said a lot that he made him available. We talked about that yesterday. And yeah, I think he might have the inside track at this point, because he got some run yesterday in the joint practices, and so and then he was also returning punts with DeAndre Carter as well, and so it looks like he's really carving himself out a spot on this roster. So I would say at this point, Larvidan has the inside track to that 6th wide receiver spot. Scott Coaster 6668 says Browns need to keep Marshall too. Yeah, speaking of running backs, yeah, Amani Marty, he looked great. Showed some nice speed on the outside, and you've heard me say this before. I've kind of seen everything I need to see from Pierre Strong. I don't know. At this point, I'd rather see Marshall. Let's get some fresh legs in there, and who knows, maybe he can be a spark. The problem, he's more like a third down back too, so you'd almost have like 2 third down backs with Ford and him. But hey, you got to, after the Judkins thing, you got to go with what you got. Got to play with the cards you've been dealt. And we'll end on Ohio Ono 6636. So people don't care about Myles Garrett's safety. He's a grown man who got a speeding ticket. Well, people do care about Myles Garrett's because he's big around town. He shows up at he's always at the Cavs games, and people like him. People care about him. Stefanski addressed it yesterday. Said, hey, it was a. They talked to him. They thought, it came up. Of course, it came up. I told you, folks. If you're on the Browns and you get out of your lane, people are going to ask you about it, talk about it. They're going to want to know. So it doesn't matter who it is. But I think this, now it'll go away. It kind of went away quickly because after Stefanski talked about it before the practice, Myles Garrett was living in the Eagles' backfield. So that's how you get everybody's mind off of it. But that is why we need him healthy and not taking these unnecessary risks. All right, thank you so much. Hey, thank you. Getting the show to 8,000 subscribers. I can't thank you enough. On to 9,000. Let's go. 12,000 Shedeur jersey. 88,000 we'll do a Harold Fannin jersey since he went to Bowling Green and my son goes to Bowling Green. We get to 88,000, we'll do the Harold Fannin junior jersey. But thank you so much. More joint practice today. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. But wrap your head around it, folks. It's probably going to be Dylan Gabriel on Saturday afternoon. And if it was my guess, Gabriel and Tyler Huntley. But like I said, not such a bad thing because now we get to compare. All right, go Browns! We'll see you next time.